Hello there. Good afternoon from Dublin Ireland. Good morning, good evening from all around the world who is joining us from around the world. Hello for London Festival of ARcture viewers. Thank you for joining us with this Places of ARcture first online event ever. We are happy to be part of London Festival of Architecture, the digital program for this year. Very briefly, Places of ARcture is a group using art and architecture to engage people with art and architecture in local communities and refugee camps. We are here today not to talk a lot about Places of ARcture. We are here to talk about architect stories from Aleppo. So let's ask our friends to join us. So we have today Dania Hamwi joining us from Malaysia.
Hi everyone.
Hi Dania.
Hi.
And also we have from Aleppo, yes, joining us from Aleppo, Danish Shalhawi and George Mubayel.
Hi.
And hi George, hi Dania. And also there is will join us later architect Rani Muhammad, also from Aleppo. So will join us later. And we have also our special guest joining us from Santander, Spain, Associate Professor Salah Haj Ismail. Hi Salah.
Hello Muhammad. Hello everyone.
Hello. Good to have you here today. So all of us talking to you from all around the world, but all of us originally from Aleppo. We have George Mubayed as a photographer, but the rest of us, we are architects, grow up in Aleppo, study in architecture in School of Architecture, Aleppo University. So we're happy to join together here and talk to you about architecture, about Aleppo, about reconstruction, and about hope. So let's move straight away to our first story for today. So we have Dania Hamwi. Dania Hamwi, Syrian architect, started to study architecture in Aleppo, but then had to leave and went to Malaysia and started her study again. So now she's a graduate architect from International Islamic University in Malaysia with Bachelor in Science of Architecture Study, LAM Part 1. Assistant architect in UIG Architect Company, head of trainers in Brilliant Kids, NGO Architecture and Art course. She believes that when we truly want something and go for it without limiting ourselves, the universe will make it happen. So, Dania, why you are here today?
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad, for this lovely introduction. I'm so glad today I'm here to share my story. I hope it could be an inspired one. And I hope you enjoyed the video that I have prepared about how I moved from Syria to Malaysia and how I started my journey and what I can do for voluntary work to help the kids building their future in a very a lovely way, in a very cool way that they can be proud of themselves when they get older.
That's very brilliant story and unique story that how to start from Aleppo and finish in Malaysia. So without further ado, let's people watch your video now.
Okay.
And the title of your video is a change maybe around the corner.
Yep.
Okay, and just now to share the screen and share computer sound. I always want not to forget this. And let's join. It's around 7 minutes, and then we'll talk later about
Hi guys, my name is Dania Hamoui. I am a Syrian architect. I was born in Syria and currently I'm staying in Malaysia. I have started my journey in architecture in Aleppo, University of Aleppo. I have been studying there for 2 years. After that, unfortunately because of the circumstances there after the war in Syria, I have to move somewhere else because it wasn't safe anymore. I chose to, actually not me, my father chose to move to Malaysia because he get a job opportunity there, and I decided that why not I will be studying there in different language, in different environment, and maybe I will be exposure to the architecture there in different countries so I can see what the difference. Being surrounded by people from different countries is kind of interesting. It really enriches your soul and enriches your mind with a lot of ideas you will never be exposed to in your hometown. Notice that the architecture in Malaysia and in Syria it has a lot of differences. In Middle East or in Syria, actually we tend to build our buildings kind of close with less opening because we have 4 seasons. As in Europe as well, so we will bear in mind that how we will deal with insulation for the winter, how we will try to have the air condition. So we cannot really build the open spaces. But in Malaysia, that is not working. They really like the open spaces. They really like to have kind of columns, and there is no wall, there is no windows, especially to the corridors, next to the corridors. So here the columns, you will feel the fresh air coming in between to the building, so that will really work as the natural ventilation. They really like this idea. Something else is the beach roof. They really like to have beach roof or slanted roof to help the water run out of the building, so it will be easier for the services.
We can see clearly the difference in the materials used in the building, which is depending on the weather in every country. So as we can see, the concrete, the stone and limestone are mainly used in Syria, and we are tending to use a very thick walls, a very rough materials to be effective in both the summer and the winter. But basically in Malaysia they are having one season which is mostly sunny and humid somehow. They are having some rainy season, so they are tending to have overhangs above the building. So basically they are tending to use concrete, and they are using some local materials available in Malaysia, which is timber and bamboo. You will see in Malaysia many buildings made of timber. They are having many kinds of timber depending on the strength and depending on the kind of trees available there. Building in bamboo actually is a trend nowadays. It's not really easy to build with bamboo, but it's something creative and eco-friendly.
So I'm currently studying as an architecture student. I'm doing something else also after I heard about a voluntary work which is called the Brilliant Kid. So this voluntary work actually is trying to help the kids or the teenagers to know their interests. What is your interest? How they are doing this, actually they are trying to get them exposure to some kind of activities or courses, short courses, maybe for 1 or 2 months, They are trying to get them the basic of every major, the basic of the architecture, the basic of the mechatronics, medical studies. So once the kids are doing this, they are learning and getting to feel where are they closer. So I really enjoy it. I was there as the head of trainers, and I tried to plan also the curriculum. I did it in the architecture field. So basically we tried to train the kids from 10 to 15 years old. They really told me that they started to feel the buildings. They started to think, oh, this building is made of timber. This building is made of concrete. So they told me they started to feel the relationship between the rooms in the house, how they are arranged. I like it how they started to feel it. I like it how they start to say that I want to be an architect.
Dreams of the future in front of our eyes. In front of our eyes. In front of our eyes. In front of our his lungs and he's breathing every single star. I just keep on waking up.
For now, I'm finally graduated with Bachelor in Science in Architecture Studies. I'm planning to study my master's soon, and I'm having lots of plans to be followed and lots of dreams to be achieved.
We are outside Syria, we are studying far away, but we all have that imaginary view of how Syria could be after the war in the next years, coming years. We will work so hard. We will work so hard as the students, as the professionals, as new generations, and one day Syria will be rebuilt greatly again. That's why I named my story "A Change May Be Around the Corner."
Okay, thank you, Dania, for this amazing story, sharing your thought about Syria from from Thank you very much, Dania, for this amazing story. You are thinking about Syria and you are in Malaysia. And this is very amazing. I think about the rebuilding from there. And I have one comment that I like your techniques in comparison, comparing between Syria and Malaysia, with about construction, about materials, about the culture.
Exactly.
Do you use these techniques in your study and your assignment?
Yep.
Just 1 second. I need to please turn on your video, please.
Okay. Hi again.
Okay.
Yep. So the question is how I will use my study to help rebuilding Syria, right? The knowledge I already had.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I believe that when we are going to rebuild Syria, we will gather all the knowledge that we get from the different sources, but we need something. We need to keep the identity of the Syrian culture in the houses, the identity of the Syrian architecture. When I have exposure to many kinds of buildings, many kinds of cultures, I recognize the importance of keeping the local touch of every country, and how it will reflect it in the architecture, how we can reflect that. So actually, I believe that the very interesting, very beautiful artistic facades that we have,
Yes,
the very traditional touch, the materials that we use is really
the stone.
representing who we are. So we need to keep that. But I think something we can add the technology.
Mm.
Maybe we can add new technologies to the building. Nowadays we are hearing about precast concrete. We are hearing about the 3D printing for the buildings. So I believe that using the modern technology and keeping the traditional and the cultural touch in the buildings will really make the architecture at the first place more. At the first place, we can build faster when we use the technologies that is available nowadays. We can minimize the manpower, we can minimize the time, the effort, but at the same time, we can get the same result that we are expecting, and we need to keep that identity because it's really, really important.
Yes, that's very amazing point. Using sorry,
Yep,
using the technology wisely.
yep,
So
exactly.
we need to think first about the culture and identity, and then the technology come later.
Yep,
So what do you
exactly.
think? Yeah, thank you very much. What do you think, Salah? You have comments or questions?
First of all, I would like to thank everyone again, especially those who are following us directly online on YouTube, and they are sharing with their valuable comments. We are waiting also their questions,
Yeah.
and I would like to apologize for any technical problems. You know, the pressure on the internet, and especially our colleagues and friends sharing their stories directly from Syria. You know the difficulties about connection, having a reliable connection, and electricity. Coming to the ideas and the story Dana shared us, really important in my opinion, and very interesting. Always in my studies, my PhD is in cultural heritage, and the culture plays a very important role. And from her experience now, as a young architect who has seen both the Malaysian experience and the Syrian, she studied in both universities. Does this experience give her a different perspective, different experience in which she expressed a little about the ideas, taking technology to help, but what changed this experience, being forced to leave Syria, starting again from the beginning? As an architect, what do you think this added to your profession in the future?
Yep. I think I have benefit from my study in Malaysia in knowing how we can respond in our buildings to the nature and to the environment, how we can build our buildings eco-friendly with some techniques that we can save some energy. I think that's an important point, how to make it sustainable, how to increase maybe the greeny areas so we can have some more healthy environments. So I think that's something I have learned here, and I really wish we can apply in Syria because it's really important.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dania. We talk about techniques and construction, but don't forget to. I'm asking the audience, don't forget to say thank you for Dania for her great volunteer work for young kids. I have been in touch with her with this idea. It's a really great idea how to teach these kids at the basics. And I'm using this. I'm inspired from brilliant kids. Frankly, I'm saying I'm inspired from brilliant kids to do this. To do other workshop. Thank you, Dania. A workshop
Thank you
teach
so much.
the kids the basics to be familiar with this, and later they won't necessarily to be architects, but they will be creative people.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Thank you, Dania. Thank you for joining us and sharing your story. And
Yep,
please
for you too.
stay with us to answer the question at the end during the panel discussion.
Yep, sure. Okay.
Now we'll move to other story. Now from Aleppo, we have Daniel Shalhawi, and just wait as Salah said, just for us. So ask to start video. I will speak loudly. So Dania, could you please turn on the video, please? Oh, perfect. Oh, okay. So before joining to unmute, now gallery view. So first of all, before we join to Danish Al-Hawi, let's welcome Rani Muhammad, architect from Syria. Hi, Rani. Hope you are okay now.
There.
Yeah,
Thank you.
she had a small medical issue, but she said she will do her best to be with us. So I'm happy that you are here now. So your story will be after George, hopefully, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, now Dania Shalhawi in the middle. Dania Shalhawi in the middle. I'm happy that the team, Aleppo team. So Dania Shalhawi, Syrian architect, graduate on 2019, School of Architecture, Aleppo. Worked in Syria Trust for Development Association as life skill trainer. Practice architecture as a member of Syrian Syndicate. A volunteer in shelter team in Syrian Arab Red Crescent in Aleppo. Also member at the second group of Assoc of Syria. She believed that the more she learned, the greater her country become. And so, hello, Dania.
Hello.
So you will be presenting today your story titled Building Hope.
Yes.
So why did you choose this title, or what the idea of choosing the title for your story?
I chose this title because I think that the hope is one of the most important things that people lose after the conflict. So I see that my role to help my country is to help these people building this hope to stand again.
Perfect. That's a very amazing idea. So I can't wait until now. Let's move straight away to Dania's story titled Building Hope. Now. Okay, enjoy Dania's story.
Architecture is the art of making building. Not all people agree, but I do, as Renzo Piano said. Also believe that art is act of love, making love to the world, Frank Gehry said. My name is Dania Shalhawi, a Syrian architect, and I'm going to tell you about the power of art in our life and cities in building hope for the future generation. Talking to you from Aleppo, one of the heritage cities in the world, according to UNESCO. I grew up surrounded by generous, loving and friendly people who used to be happy and satisfied despite of their simple lives and be pleased to give without return. These are most of the people of Aleppo. I call this the intangible heritage and hope you feel it like I did. And now, Let's talk about the tangible one, which the one who led me to choose the architecture as a profession. Its famous stones and iron gates, its amazing structure and narrow environmental alleys, unique covered old souk, and lovely indoor courtyards. But unfortunately, many buildings of the tangible heritage were destroyed. But in spite of being hopeless, I made a decision to finish my study, to participate in rebuilding the old buildings and the new ones with the developed features, to preserve these precious historical buildings for the future generation. I started my journey with architecture on 2013, during the war, which wasn't easy. It was hard to find resources like electricity, printing, and internet, but I kept struggling and finished my architectural studies. I spent several nights working on my projects, on the candle lights, but I really enjoyed what I did, believing that my work will be worthwhile. The School of Architecture in Aleppo University became my second home. I enjoyed my time doing my projects with my friends, colleagues, and my supervisors. We were all live, study, and work as a teamwork, trying to search for hope and happiness to be able to move on. And on 2018, I did it, and my dream of planning how to rebuild Aleppo started then. I immediately joined an architectural office for training to gain practical experience in the aim to get a full membership in the engineers syndicate as an architect. I went to several sites to see the construction and restoration works in addition to my participation in some voluntary works such as the restoration of Al-Adliya Mosque. And on February 2019, I was lucky to share my artworks with the people in Ireland during Syrian Architects exhibition at Dublin City University. I also sent a message for Building Hope, which was shown in Rebuilding Syria workshop at DCU February 2020. I believe that working on developing communities starts from the local community level, as it is essential for cities which have suffered or suffering from the war. This inspired me to start my volunteer career in Shelter Team in Syrian Arab Red Crescent in Aleppo branch and still working there until present. Our work is divided in evaluation of damaged buildings, supervising the operation of reconstruction, electricity, sanitary and wooden works, to ensure that the structures become as suitable for their owners who were displaced to come back and live in. Watching the pain and the sadness in the faces of my country's children during my daily life motivated me to do something for them, to let them forget their pain at least for a little time, and share with them smile. I thought it's better to use the art as it's my passion. Having this dream of turning all this pain to happiness drove me to join an association called Syria Trust for Development, Human Development Association in Aleppo Center, which has many branches around Syria. Work with people who is looking to do a positive change in their local communities. My role was teaching talented kids the skills of art to improve their talent. We made an exhibition for them. They were so happy and I was so proud watching their smile in their faces. As it is essential for Syria now to have contemporary, eco-friendly architecture focusing on the new innovations in sustainability. So, my next goal now is to enhance my opportunity to obtain a graduate degree in sustainable architecture. I applied a lot, but I will keep trying, as I believe that the more I learn, the greater my country becomes.
Start video. Now we'll have Dania. Thank you. I just wait for her to join her video. Now, wow, amazing. Yeah, a lot of ideas in one story. Thank you, Dana. So I think now we know how you building hope. So you building hope using art and architecture. That's right. Dania. So this is the idea of building hope using art and architecture. I have a question, but I will let maybe Salah start if you have any comments and questions.
Thank you, Dania, and thank you, Muhammad. First, coming to questions, since I'm seeing that some of our audience who are following the streaming on YouTube writing some questions, I would like to ask them if they have the question for a specific participant, presenter today, so to write directly to direct their questions to them. Otherwise, if they have a general question, of course, they are welcome, which we will discuss it at the end of this presentation. Coming from this point, I used to, both of us, you remember, we used to work in Aleppo University, the Faculty of Architecture, as teachers, professors. Some of them were our students. And we had this feeling when you are transferring your knowledge, but at the same time interacting with the people. What I have seen with Dania, what she has been doing with the children is amazing, transferring this knowledge, building the hope for them. But I want to ask her from this point, from your experience with them, what do you think that their abilities, their future share in the reconstruction? You know their skills. You participated even in the formation of their skills. So talking about those children which you dealt with, what do you think the reconstruction of the city will mean to them, and also how they can participate in this reconstruction?
I think those children who drew the hope through the art are the future engineers and architects. So they will build every single stone with love and passion. They will build a brighter future for their countries, and our future needs such a creative people like them.
Thank you. I believe the same, starting with your generation and then the next generations.
The next generation. I just want to comment the idea Salah said that when we were teaching, we have this idea that interacting with students as a friends, it's a good education skill for them. So the same Dania now she's doing, so she interacting with her kids and passing their talents to them. I have another question. So my question is for Dania is, what do you imagine the city or the community when these talent people there in this city? So if they are now grow up and use this creativity, so through your experience with them, can you imagine the city or the community which they will be rebuilt, or built?
Yeah, I envision that the future of our cities and communities will be much better when they have such a creative people. So I imagine the city who these people live in looks like Rotterdam, Netherlands, one day.
Oh, great example, Rotterdam. So you have good knowledge about that Rotterdam. It's good example for rebuilding city after the World War II. Well, nice example. Thank you, Dania, for sharing this story, your story. Amazing story. And now let's move straight away let's change a little bit and then come back to architecture. so now we will have a story from a photographer, George Mbayed. Hi, George. So I will tell you
Hi,
a
hello
little bit.
everyone.
Hello, George. Glad to be with us here today. And so George Mbayed is photographer, have a bachelor degree in communication at BMC at Syrian Virtual University, diploma in art and design, EDXL UK, and currently setting up startup business with his friends called Mazij Agency, which he kindly will tell us about it later in the event. He believes that every new start is worthwhile. Love to search for hope within every detail, even the details of the war. So before we move to his video, I'd like to ask George, when I contact you and ask you to join us, what motivates you, or why you are here with us today? Why you want to share us your story? Could you tell us?
First, hello everyone. I'm glad to be here. It's an opportunity to participate and convey a positive image of my country, which is still suffering from 10 years of war. That war destroyed everything beautiful in our country.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, thank you for your hope for the country, Syria and Aleppo. And so now let's jump straight away to the story. So to make everything is fine, let's have some. So mute all, and I will mute myself first. unmute first. Unmute. Yeah, try George to unmute again, please. Start video. And Salah, video, okay. Yes. Wow, it's a very amazing photos. Thank you, George, for give us a permission or join us your photo with our posters to put in the London Festival of Architecture. I think most of people noticed that this picture is here. The two people who are sitting within the balcony and talking about what's next, how to start. Sorry, where's video? Let's start video. So what do you think, Salah?
What I think now, unfortunately, it's not the time of the brain, it's the time of the heart.
Yeah.
Thank you, George. Even some of these photos were really painful, but the choice you have taken to name it decorating pain is already something giving hope. You know that taking the documentation images is one of the major tasks of reconstructors, because they keep the anonymous memory of a community. So with your work, you are performing an important task by registering, recording all these moments. How you see what you are doing, where they can serve more than just protecting and saving the memory of the people of Aleppo, particularly, and Syria in general.
Okay. During the photography of the city, which is the inhabited city in the history of mankind, the city of Aleppo, or I can say my Aleppo, I feel that I'm documenting and recording history for future generation. Also, when I'm working documentaries, I feel that I help people to adapt, to search for everything that causes hope.
Thank you. Of course, it is one important thing. Of course, we notice that hope is the connector of most of your presentations today. And I think without this hope, we will not be able to achieve anything. Thank you for giving this.
Yes, the hope is in all our minds and in our stories. But also, I want to comment about how the word decorating pain it's amazing. So you're searching for pain, for where is the pain, and you try to use your techniques and to find a solution for this pain. But if the pain is very big, so you are trying to decorate it, and then hopefully soon it will be recovered, this pain. This is a very amazing idea. Thank you, George.
Thank you for you.
Okay, so now, Ranim, are you ready? So could you please adjust the camera? Yeah, to see Ranim.
Yeah, hello there.
So, hello, Ranim. By the way, Ranim and Dania shared their stories with the Places of ARcture from the first beginning. So thank you for all previous participation. And now, Ranim, I will introduce you. Ranim Muhammad. I think we have a time to take your to tell your bio or not. I mean, it's a big bio, so I choose a little from her bio, and just this. Could I tell you, and then they would think that talking about you.
Okay.
So Rani Muhammad Achour in the class, School of Architecture, Aleppo University, graduated in 2017. Member of Architecture Plus Group in Aleppo University, a head architect at Taj Al Shahba, a company for construction and architecture, which we'll ask her to talk about it lately. I'm happy that she's engagement officer at Places of ARcture, Dublin Ireland, member of RIAM board for UNICEF, Syria ambassador for IYONS organization. If we have a time, she can tell you about this acronym, Global Peace Chain, and currently applying to be a UN Office of Secretary General Envoy on us. So hope her application be approved soon. In all her participation in conference and workshop, she is always trying to send a message for all people who are suffering from the war. And the rest of her bio, you can check it in her contact email address. So why you are here today? So you used to be all the time with us. What about the unique things for today here?
Thank you, Muhammad. Actually, I'm very glad to be here today because I finally got the opportunity to share my story with you, with all the people who are hearing us today. I want to send a message out for the world that everyone who is suffering from war outside, they shouldn't lose hope. They should be stronger than ever, you know, because what kills you makes you stronger, you know.
Yes, the hope of the construction. So without further ado,
sending out the hope. Yes.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's go to the video and we'll talk about the video later. So hope all you enjoy the video now.
Okay.
So let's burn a second now. Unmute home. Stop video. Stop video. And just 1 second, I have the video here. And then I will share screen and here it is. Yeah.
Once upon a time, a city that refused to die, a soul that refused to surrender. Many of you surely heard of Aleppo, the bride of the north in Syria. Knowledge, art, music, people,
narrow streets, Aleppo Castle, Aleppo Soap. This is my city, this is my home, and I am Ranim Muhammad, a young architect from Aleppo, and this is my story.
I have started studying at University of Aleppo Faculty of Architecture at 2012. Why I have chosen this major to study? Because I fell in love with Aleppo city. As I grew up, I used to see those buildings, those old buildings, and each and every building had its own story to tell. You can still see the harmony and the balance that exists between those buildings in spite of the many different types of architectural styles that has. And when you walk around the city with your friends and family, you can still see those styles in the details that exist in those buildings. Before I got to be an architect, I used to look at those buildings as just a building. It has its own tell, but right now, after being an architect, all those details got magnified. I fell in love with every single detail that existed in these buildings, like the windows and the patterns, these carved patterns in the stones that you can see, and each and every stone tells its own tale about something ancient, about people who did so many wonders just to make this building stand up and see the light. People ask us about the war that happened in Syria, especially in Aleppo. No one has enough words to describe that period of our lives, but I can say something, that whatever happens to us, we survived, and at the same time we got really stronger than ever. And I never expected myself to graduate and be an architect at the end, but at the end of the war I got to be an architect. I graduated, and I did so many things that I am very proud of. I got more powerful than ever, and right now I am on top of the world.
After graduation, I got more involved in the voluntary work. I worked with several NGOs and many projects with UNICEF. I won the Mina Symposium Prize for the best research. I had the privilege to be invited to the Youth Leadership Conference in Hyderabad 2019.
So after watching this video, I just want to say, yes, it was horrible, and yes, we suffered, but we have our hopes and dreams just to achieve them. So for all the people out there who are suffering from the same obstacles, from the same war, I want to say for them, hang in there and use your passion, use your dreams, just to hold on to it, to go through the war and obstacles, just to achieve your goals and dreams. Don't stop there. Be strong, be powerful, because life will go on as you live.
Yeah, strong message. Yeah, I hope all listen to this. Thank you, Ranim. Ranim, now start with you.
Yes. Okay. Hello there.
Hello there. Wow, very emotional story, and the message you sent at the end is amazing. I can't say anything. Salah, what do you think?
I think Ranim still remembers when I was teaching. I was a harsh professor. I still a harsh professor in general, and especially working with construction methods. I always try to ask this question: what is the role of an architect? Is it only constructing, making these buildings, using building materials, or we have another role? And now with her presentation and her video, she answered in a way to my question. But I want again to emphasize this question for her now, after living and surviving this period in Syria. What do you think the role of architects in general, architects who are the sons and daughters of Aleppo and Syria, beside the role of reconstruction, the physical reconstruction?
Thank you for this question. Actually, this question is really, really important to me because I lived this phase in my life, and I used to think that architecture was supposed to be about construction, as you said. But 3 years ago, I discovered that it wasn't just about construction and buildings. No, it actually about like influencing people and inspiring them to see their city and to hope for more, you know, because after the war, many sites of Aleppo got damaged because of the war, and many people started doing initiatives in many organizations just to reconstruct the area. So basically, the architect will be a great person if he can like influence people around him to care more about their cities, you know, to care more about the environment we are living in. So basically, we are holding a major role, you know.
I think you will be the influencer in your community, and as many connection with you and UNICEF, and so hopefully you will be passing these techniques, skills, and using this with your community and your people that we talking about, that the son or the daughter of Aleppo, they will be doing this. And also I have a comment from your story that we all, before we are getting an architect, so we are residents in Aleppo. So we have this connection with the old city, with the soul, with the people. And when we be an architect, so we have double mission now, because we know.
Double mission, yes. Yeah.
No, I know if it's a good term, but we know about Aleppo, we know about the culture, we know about the heritage, and then we are now architects. So we have a lot to do. Do you agree?
Because you are resident here, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Your role is basic like that. If more effective, you are more effective because you are an architect, and at the same time you are a resident here.
Resident and know everything about each stone. You said you know each details of each stone, and each stone has its own story. I remember all the words of your story. So now I think we have 4 stories, 4 inspiration stories. So we finished our stories now, and I would like to ask, and hope you enjoyed them. I would like to ask now, yes, so Dania, so let's join together. So if you, I would stop your video, and then you change your 3 of you, Rani, Dania, and George. And then when you are ready, turn off your video. And I have the question now here with me. We have 2 questions. Now let's see if they are ready now. George, Dania, and Rani. Perfect. So let's start now. Let's read the question we have, and then wait for another question maybe, and we'll start the discussion. Hosted or shared, I will say shared by Dr. Salah. Sorry, this is the stories of, so let's answer this question, and we have surprise now after that. We have a presentation from Dr. Salah, who kindly will present it today. This presentation, it's an article in the magazine So he kindly will share this article with us in a presentation. After answer this question, so ask a question for Dania Hamwi, Prof. Muhammad Achour. Dania, will you use wooden structure in your future projects in Syria?
Okay, I think wooden structures need a lot of maintenance because we have a high humidity in winter. So if we maintain it, I think I would prefer to use it as a decorating element in the interior design, other than using it as a main design, as a main structure, or as an exterior facade. Facade timber, because it needs a lot of maintaining, and it doesn't work with the high humidity we have in winter. In Malaysia, actually, we have tropical climate, so the humidity is not as high as in Syria.
Okay, so you have good knowledge in structure. Yes, we have a stone, we have our local materials. So we start with our local materials, and we get benefits from the wooden structure or wooden materials in our interior design.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Dania, for this question. And the question from Christopher for Danish Shalhawi. And Christopher ended this question saying that it's a big question. So I will try to make it easy for Dania. Okay, so it's sitting in the UK. He's talking about himself. Sitting in the UK, it's hard to imagine the stress of daily life you are working with. How do you manage the way that affects the creativity of the children? So he can imagine how an architect or people within these circumstances and within these difficulties and the war and bombing and these things. And you did this workshop with these kids. So how do you manage the way that affect the creativity of children?
I think the war inspired us to be more creative. It has a lot of benefits on us. So it made us more stronger and more creativity. We motivate these children to use their passion, which has affected by the war and reflected on paper.
Yes, yes. So we have. So I can't say this is the benefit of war because it's not the term. So, but yes. Because of the war, so kids trying to use their creativity to spend their time thinking about the future and forget about the war because they want to live, they want to move on. So that's a good question. Thank you, Daniel. I think we have this now question for so far, but maybe other question will come later. But now, please welcome.
Now we just have received another question from Abdullah Mackenzie, and he says that you are doing an amazing job building what war has destroyed. But should we expect that Syria will be back exactly as it was in or before 2011, or is this just impossible and we have to stop dreaming? I think this is a general question for all of us, and maybe we can discuss it at the end during the discussion. We already have more than 1 hour, streaming. Maybe we can keep this to the end of our session, and we can answer it from all the perspectives.
All perspective, yeah, it's a main question. All people ask me about. So adjusted dreaming, but we will have an answer for this question. But first, let me introduce you to. I have no paper to read from, so because Salah Haj Ismail, associated professor in Rome, Italy. Sorry, Salah, the name of the university.
No problem. Finally, I moved in different universities, but I always have the pride of being a professor in Aleppo University, the Faculty of Architecture.
Oh, that's perfect. So former assistant professor in Aleppo University. So we were I am a teacher assistant. Salah was assistant professor. And so we had a great time with these students. And also we were together in Aleppo University, Ittihad private university. And as Salah said, a lot of university around the world, online and in the university. So let's move on, Salah, and I make you a host so you can share your screen, please. And
okay,
I will make
thank you very much.
And spotlight.
Okay. Let's see this, and here share, and here I have the presentation. So I hope that you can see my presentation full screen.
Sorry.
The people.
Let's try to stop sharing, maybe. See if it's the problem is sharing.
Okay.
Because it's still sorry for that. I can stop from my side.
Yes, you can stop it.
Yeah.
Maybe I will continue talking. No problem.
Yes,
because the results, I don't want to take long time. I will jump directly to the results. Okay. We found that there are basic processes or practices. It was done, they were done after every disaster, every destruction the city faced. One of them, displacement. The people used to flee from the conflict to the rural areas around Aleppo, around the major cities. So kind of reversed immigration inside the country. Of course, at that time, when I'm talking about inside the country, now we are talking about Lebanon, Palestine, Jordan. After the conflict finished, the people used to come back and reconstruct. This is one of the major practices, which means that those who went out and those who stayed, both, they have their share in the reconstruction of the city. And all the experiences were required. The second one, as I mentioned, that the people, they consider it as a natural process. So they didn't register it. The historians didn't write about it. They mainly focused about the size and the volume of destruction. Very few information about this reconstruction processes. But you can find about the politics of reconstruction, how agreements with the friends, allies, the local community from that time, which now we are talking like non-governmental organizations, but the local community reconstructed its city and its country. A third one, I mentioned, migration from the cities to rural areas. These works, even they have never been in villages, they have never lived in rural areas, they adapted to this. So another important thing to take in consideration are how to involve these rural areas instead of having this historical conflict between the rural and urban, city and village. It's the opposite. Usually they were working in harmony to reconstruct. Fourthly, one of the famous things we say when we were marketing the buildings is to talk about that how the materials of the destroyed houses are enough to reconstruct them. So this recycling of materials, it was an old practice, and they used the local materials. So the same stones, the same rubble, the debris was one of the used recycled materials for reconstructing what is needed, defining priorities of the community what is the important things to do immediately, what is emergency, what is a midterm, what is a long-term practices. And of course, one thing was and is, and today presentation confirming the results of this study, that education, anyone of the leaders, the government, after any disaster, after any conflict, caused the destruction of Aleppo, they based their work on providing good and excellent education related with this topic. And that's the reason, for example, I participated establishment of a master program in Turkey, in Ankara Yildirim Bayezid University. It's about the post-war and disaster reconstruction, rehabilitation, and development of the countries or cities damaged or destroyed by war. And we have students from Syria, from Iraq, Libya, Yemen, countries which also suffered with the same or similar problems, to learn the scientific techniques and strategies, procedures, to make the best of their knowledge in the reconstruction communities, studies, managers, economists, those who graduated from, even teachers. So we know the importance of education in the reviving reconstruction of communities. And those who insisted to continue their studies in architecture, my dear colleagues now, either in Syria or in other countries, I believe that this is a continuous of these successful practices in the history of the city and the country for the reconstruction. The final result, which always a little bit I'm hesitating to say, but it's across history, and I have a lot of debate about this. From that most of the destruction caused by male, reconstruction made by females, by women, and of course
we have three.
This is a result. Even I published another paper about this. We can discuss it, but we have an evidence to. We have a very amazing, brilliant architect and already participating in the reconstruction. So just to sum up, today it's not a big difference, I can say. And for those who think that this is the biggest disaster the city faced or the country faced, if you just have a look to the history, you will find we have faced harder times, and the city there. Sons, daughters, the community managed always to reconstruct the city, and not as it was. Always it was better. It was responding to the new needs, the contemporary request of the community, the technologies. And there is, of course, one of the Sendai framework for post-disaster management, and there is a terminology which is BBB, one of the strategies of the reconstruction, which means build back better. We have students in the master, their thesis about Aleppo, about Syria, Mosul in Iraq, trying to apply this knowledge to these case studies, helping in the reconstruction and recovery of these cities. So I never lost the hope. Those results gave me the people of Syria, the Syrian people, the people of Aleppo. You have some examples today, shared their stories, but you can be sure that all of them are willing and able to participate in the recovery and reconstruction of the city. I hope I didn't like took long
no,
time?
You spot a light for topics which may
didn't bore you too much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, the title of?
No, you give a spotlight for many things which we can do conferences. We can do about it. For example, so first of all, you answer Abdullah. Mackenzie that when reconstruction starts, the history of Aleppo, when we reconstruct, you do better because you know the community needs, and we do better. So we hope, it's not just hope, we will work on it, and as architects, educators, to search for better community and better places after the war. You mentioned that. And I like the idea how to make connection between rural and urban, and using the priority, and also the idea of ask people of the communities about the priority. And for example, in Aleppo, when the big mosque, the Umayyad mosque, start to rebuild, people just saying that there is something more important. But I feel that when you have reconstruct this big mosque and historical places of people who has a shop in the old souk, they will start to go and reconstruct, and that's what's happened. That they are start thinking about asking people, asking the local authorities to how they can start again and open the shop. So then the life will begin again. So asking people what they need first, and then start with the reconstruction. And also the idea about the local communities, to work on the local communities. So this will be sustainable, because when they will be all the time there, so they will be know how to reconstruct their buildings. Thank you very much, Salah. And I just want to say the name of your article, The Rich Aleppo History of Reconstruction, or The Rich
History of Aleppo Reconstruction.
Yeah, so we have big topics or experiments in our history. So try to. Do you want to answer? So this is answering Abdullah's question, or do you want to add for Abdullah's question?
Generally, anyone, you know that most of the time the question which we face related with Aleppo, coming from this city, when the people know us that we lived there during the conflict, is this question. No, we cannot stop dreaming, because not just because of feelings or social reasons. It is even for scientific reasons. We have the power and the ability to rebuild our country even better than it was in 2011. So I think my colleagues here, they share this idea. Otherwise, they wouldn't be working hard in Syria, outside Syria. If they lose this hope and believe in what they are doing, they will achieve nothing. But they still have the power and the will to do that.
Yeah, perfect. Yes. So after your talks, so we have example for what we talk about. Radim working with communities, Dania working with the kids, and George working on documentary and the buildings by his talent in photography, and Dania also about the techniques of construction and about building future kids to be creative. So now I asked Dania how we could you unmute yourself? Unmute. So we'll have a panel discussion now. And so we have a question from Christopher. As an expert how do you look at the practice of co-creation, of involving the public in design? So that
I
this,
think this question is related to the organizations that is doing the voluntary work for rebuilding Syria, right? So it's more to Dania Shalhawi, I think, because she works with this organization or something.
With the Syria Trust for Development, yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's for the organizations in Syria, not for me, I think.
Yeah, so about in Syria and about in general idea and architecture, the co-creation, yeah, and co-creation design.
Okay, in general, I think that if I can imagine myself there, even though if I wasn't an architect, I would be so excited to involve in this work that is doing. I believe that everybody is having the view how we are going to rebuild Syria, and everybody is wishing that we can rebuild it greater than ever. So I think we still there is some simple tasks that everybody can do. I think with some with some management from the architects and from the professionals, everybody can be involved if we can manage that in the right way.
Yeah, everybody will be involved, and communities and education institution, as Salah said, and local authorities.
Can I add something to
yes,
Christopher, related with the experience of Aleppo in this field? The co-creation is, I always used to cite poetry, Arabic poetry, which tells this idea. It says that it is famous in the Arab world. I used it in my lectures even during this, so some of the students might remember this. It says that, how to translate it? أمر على الديار ديار سلمى أقبل ذا الجدار وذا الجدار وما حب الديار شغفنا قلبي ولكن حب من سكن الديار. So it says basically that I go to the city of Salma, his beloved one, and kissing this wall, that roof, not because he's in love with the stone or the houses, but because he's in love with the people who are living or lived in these houses. So this practice of the people participating in co-designing, co-creating their spaces is a basic practice in the history of the city of Aleppo. Some of the people, some studies, they say it's a spontaneous city. In reality, no. If you go and see, there were designers, they were architects, they were urban planners, shared the vision and the priorities of the people. They were responding to this. And now the new practices, it's more organized because we have the technology. We can even take the opinion of the people, some kind of quest online. And I think from their experience, those who are still in Aleppo, they live this daily. They can contact with the people and they can see real needs and they can respond to these needs.
Yeah, and that's why we are trying to connect these architects who still lives in Aleppo to make this connection between them, and we need them to tell us more. But I like you show me previously what is left from your house in Marj Laver. Did you share it today, or
it was in the slide? Yes.
In the slide, yeah, we missed it. Salah show me just the gate, just an iron door, and the stones around. And everything around is destroyed. So hopefully you can go there and kiss that stone.
It is here, just for...
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, so this is Salah's home in Marj Lader in suburb rural area in Aleppo, his own home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one. So now,
Okay. Let's stop sharing.
So Hussam saying that we also have same your dream with Salah. And okay. Now I have a question for H1 now for the architect. Let's back to the architect. I would like to know about their life now. So what are you doing? What are your passion, or what are you planning for the future for yourself? So starting with Dania Hamoun.
Okay. I have already finished my internship at one of the companies, and I'm planning to study my master's soon. I have some plans to go outside Malaysia, so I hope it works. And I think I will still. I don't think that I'm enough. I still gain for more. I still aiming for more, and still wanted to gain more experience, even beside my knowledge, beside my academic. I want to still gain some practices, and one day I wish that we can go back to Syria and help in the rebuilding process. And I hope one day we can do whatever we imagine, and how we think Syria could be in the best way ever.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Dania. We hope all we can back to Syria, but at this moment we can, as your dream is to continue studying, getting the knowledge, getting practice, and not stop at here. Yes, doing the dreams. And yesterday. We had chat with Dania that thank you for London Festival of Architecture and for the RIBA journal. So our event was in their review and the RIBA journal. And so then Dania said to me, oh, this is the RIBA. So she said, Dania, that her study in Malaysia, it's represent the part one, I think. Would you like to say something about this?
I would like to take this opportunity to thank RIBA Journal for sharing our event on the journal there. I will know that organization, because in Malaysia we follow the British style of architecture and the British system of academic. So the bachelor degree is recognized as Lampard 2, or recognized by RIBA as Lampard 2, and for master degree it's recognized as Lampard 1 for bachelor, Lampard 2 for master degree. So after that, anybody can join the RIBA organization with some practical experience. So that's really interesting to me, that sharing our event in the RIBA journal. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And you mentioned that there's some difficulties for international. What kind of difficulties you said for international?
To be honest, I'm not sure of this point. If international students,
so let's say there is no difficulty. Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So now we'll move to the three architects and the photographer in Aleppo. We'll start with Dania Shalhawi. So the question is, what are you doing and what are you looking for in the future?
For the future.
So now, or even I will ask Dania later. So even if people they want to contact you, or if you have any social media things or emails.
Me or Dania Shalhawi?
Later, Dania Hamid. Yeah, Dania Shalhawi.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
So you mentioned in your story that you are working in Arab Red Crescent as an architect, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And also you mentioned that you feel that the more you learn, the more you get country, greater your country. So,
Yes.
so you are looking to continue as Dania and do a master's degree. So what, let's say, when you choose a major for study master, are you choosing a major you love to do, or a major it's your country is needed?
Actually, I love the major that make the cities more livable and more sustainable. So,
Okay.
To answer your question is both of them.
Both of them. So you love the thing that
Yes.
needed for your country. Okay, great. Thank you, Dania. And we'll move to Ranim.
Yeah.
Ranim.
Really?
Ranim Muhammad, yes. So what are you doing? What are your dreams or future? And tell us more about your team in Taj Shahba.
Oh, okay, there are plenty of things that I want to share today with you. Actually, in 2016, I had an idea to start up a group of architects. So we were glad to achieve that in 2019. So right now we are starting a group of architects in Taj Shahba company for construction and architecture, with the help of our leader, our fearless leader, Mr. Abdullah behind us, which he is like he's helping us and he's providing us with everything we need, you know. Yeah. So besides being a part of the architectural group, right now I am working on something else, like working on the field of humanitarian initiatives, like with UNICEF, as I am a part of RIAM group. What I am hoping for in the future, I am hoping to help every single engineer in Syria, you know, because as an architect, you know, because of the war, we grew up without the essential things we need, like a great education, tools, electricity. As my friend Dania said, we lived like a very hard crisis, you know. So I want to provide everything we lost during the war to the next generation. I want to provide a better environment to help other architects or other engineers in general. You know.
That's really amazing. That so you are working on having this idea that how to help.
Yeah.
So it's looked like how to help the next generation
How to
of
help the
architects.
engineers in Syria. In
Yeah,
Aleppo,
so,
basically in Aleppo.
perfect.
But in the future, we will extend to whole Syria. I just have one thing to say. I want to answer Abdullah Makansi.
Oh, perfect. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Abdullah asked a really great question, but I am going to say that, Abdullah, aren't you one of the people who were supposed to be with us to rebuild Syria? Yeah, he's one of the people who are passionate about Syria and rebuilding Syria.
Perfect. We'll pass him. Hopefully he can answer. Yes, good.
I don't know, but actually, I want to say that we are not dreaming. We stayed in Aleppo, we stayed in Syria to work on the reconstruction, you know, to work on reviving Syria.
Yeah.
So we are not dreaming, and I believe that with all of our activities and all of our dreams, we will achieve that one day.
Yeah, yeah. I stay in the beginning that I want to talk more about this ARcture, but now we are saying that we are trying to make this network. So this network, all are welcome. So it's not for Syrian, all are welcome to do art and architecture in all countries and engage people with art and architecture. And part of the idea that we want to have this network. You are as an architect, and as Salah said, socialist, not just architect. We need a lot of people, majors, to work and with the communities. So all are welcome, and to have them in one place and start to not. So yes, you say I'm not dreaming. Okay, I say we can start designing put ideas, and these ideas, when it's time for reconstruction, so it will be
we will be ready. We will be ready for that.
Yes. So people, but nice idea for your teamwork. So you are a leader for architect teamwork, and you have this leadership skill to have to be as a leader for architect teamwork in your Taj al-Shahba. Yes.
Actually, I didn't quite hear the last sentence. Can you?
I like it that you are now leading a teamwork of architects in Al-Taj al-Shahba for construction and architecture.
Yes.
Is it hard to lead, or you have this skills?
Actually, it's really hard, but you know, I used to think that I was the only one who's thinking like that. I'm supposed to be a leader, and I'm supposed to have skills to inspire others. But when I started the group, I discovered that everyone around me in Aleppo here wants to inspire others, you know? They all have this quality. They all have leaderships and skills and great skills, you know? As we speak today, we have like several of great young leaders here, great minds. So when I started the Taj al-Shahba group, I wanted to work alone, but afterwards I discovered that many people think like me, so I was very happy to see that.
Perfect. Salah, do you think leadership is essential, or is it hard to get for this architect?
You can notice that from at least my experience dealing with in different countries, Italy, Spain, Turkey, Germany, that
Syria.
Those who I met and who met with Syrians, they already notice these abilities, creativity, willingness, power, and they are presented here today. You can see some examples, great examples about this. The stories which comes, I follow the journals, you know. We discuss this. The newspapers, always there are stories from all around the success of Syrians in the host communities, but also mainly I think they are, the coverage is unfair because those who still in Syria, and they are, in my opinion, the biggest successful successful stories, which should be shared because they were successful on surviving and now in applying their vision. So, of course, leadership is required, but someone who lived 8 or 9 years in a crisis like this, absolutely, he developed a power not only for leading teams, but also a power for forecasting and planning a future city. So I have no doubt, as I said, from reading the books and from seeing the videos today, and I from Syria, as I said, made their master in the post-war reconstruction. Now they're back to Syria, working. Maybe I shouldn't say names, but they are in Damascus, in Aleppo, in Homs, in Latakia, everywhere. So even we have artists for, it's not only architects, as I mentioned. What I see, of course, the architecture part is great, important, but things which George is providing us, what are important and of a great value, in my opinion, it's not covered enough outside. In Syria, I don't know, I don't have the accessibility, unfortunately, for the newspapers, for the what's happening. But I think those actions and events and works and experiences should be highlighted, because they will keep the hope and they will achieve the vision in their minds.
Yes, that's a good idea that we talked about it yesterday, that there's a lot of success story, but no highlight for this. And even the international world talk about this story, but there is a less highlight for this. They are talking about that there's a lot of educated Syrians, rich culture, strong. So as you said, I don't know if I can say the power award. So 8 years, and they are now here with us talking, and they have this vision. So they get the power from these circumstances. So I would like to invite people to highlight, and I like people to talk to us or to talk to anybody who can highlight this success for the other. So for example, for Ranim, in the end of her story, they said this is a story for all people who suffering from the war. So come and see how we can do so. All the countries can work together and get experience from each other. So just Abdullah Makansi, Ranim, he said yes, of course.
Okay,
So
you replied.
we have yes, we have one, and Christopher, your dream helped all of us, perfect. And your poetry now it's trending, Salah.
It's not mine. Finally, I come to working in heritage. It comes to my mind. I like to study because most of the registered history and heritage of the Arabs coming from poetry, and there are a lot of stories about this reconstruction coming in poetry. Yes. So I like to memorize it. It's not mine.
Yes. Thank you for all the comments from Najwa, from Hussam, from Muhammad Zalif, one of your students, I think, and it's my former student. Thank you, Dr. Salah. And he said he's glad to see together here. At this question from Tariq, what is the obstacles that you are facing now in Aleppo in rebuilding process? Let's take this answer from photographer, from George. George, what do you think the obstacles your colleagues for people now in rebuilding process, or maybe Dania, I don't know, Dania Hamwi. Dania is Malaysia, maybe Ranim. What is the obstacle? The main obstacle?
I think George can provide us with better background because he has the photographer eye. He can tell us really what are the difficulties they are facing now, not only in reconstruction and rebuilding, in general.
And then he will talk to us about his startup work.
Okay.
Can I answer?
You can see in Arabic.
Yeah. Can I answer just until he soft his mind? Okay.
Of course.
In general, as we said, in general, we can say that financially there are many problems that we can't solve. So this is out of hand. We can't talk about. Okay, but right now, for us to reconstruct Syria or rebuild Syria, I noticed that many people are working alone. So they have damaged areas. They are reconstructing this area alone without concerning the area and the heritage of the area.
Yeah.
You know. So many problems is that we don't have a current plan. You know. Not just a current plan, we are not planning to see the future. We have a damaged area, so we have to see what the damages are and how to override them. Yeah. So I think we have to think about the plan, and we have to know what is the damage in Syria, in Aleppo, you know,
I think
because Aleppo is the most damaged city.
Yeah, I think George said that.
Yeah, I found the right sentence. We don't have a strategy, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
in damage in our country, in Aleppo especially.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I think documenting is essential as a photographer or at the beginning, and then start the process. I just remember to say something that, as we said, international people, a lot of people who deal with Syrians, and they said that they feel and write in their media that the Syrian people, if they're giving the support, they can help their country. So finding these successes people and give them the support to start to reflect this idea with the community is essential, I think, for me. Oh, so let's make it ended with George. George is will talk to us about his startup business, and when I asked him about this business, he said we are photographer, artists, and architects. And I said, okay, so this is places of ARcture. This is the same idea of places of ARcture. So could you please tell us, George, about your startup business? And while you are talking, I will show your works.
Okay. Thank you, Muhammad. Mazij is my passion work. Me and two of my friends, Hala is the graphic designer and Judy architect. We formed the mixture. Of this mixture is a company that work to create different composition that combines art, photography, and architecture. We're trying to mixture everything, glass and wood, or printing on a t-shirt, and show the people details in our culture, like Arabic calligraphy or printing Citadel of Aleppo on a t-shirt. That started in March, and I hope we can continue to show everyone in the world our culture.
Yes, thank you, George. It's a really amazing and a unique idea. So Mazij agency is in Arabic. It's a mixture. So
yeah.
It's a mixture of leather and mixture also and the photos or mixture of books. So we can see here the books and the calligraphy, the art. So mix of things you can't think that it will be in one place.
Yeah.
So they trying to do it in an artistic way and as a souvenir. So I'm glad that people, like young people, think about the history, about the calligraphy, and also about the souvenirs. So you are self support, or how you start?
I can listen. Could you can repeat, please, the question?
So you are three members of this business and trying to sell your products for people. I think this product it's amazing product. So what is the future of this work, do you think?
We hope we transfer our work from Aleppo around the world to all the people in the world. Hope Mazij agency be international agency in the printing on t-shirt, on glasses and boxes, wood. We hope that.
And I hope you can give me an honor to sell this, or to try to find a way how to let people in your in international world to find a way to get these people if they get interest. That is a really great story. So Dania, Hamwi, do you have something to add before we close?
No, for me, no.
No. So everything's fine. So now we are looking for doing your master, and Dania Hamwi started to join places of ARcture events since the beginning. So I think now it's my turn. So Dania, Ramin, thank you very much, and George. So
thank you for your thank you, Muhammad. Thank you, Dr.
thank
Salah.
you. Stay with us.
Thank you all. Really inspiring, and
yes,
the result he mentioned, Muhammad, before that. It seems that we can choose a theme of this online event as that it's not only hope but also work. Hope with work will make miracles for the reconstruction.
Perfect. Inshallah. So just I said I just say a few words. So Places of ARcture, it's a it's an Irish company, limited by guarantee. Just to do not just we have a lot of dreams, but at the beginning we have a dream of anyone should draw, create, plan, design, and then please share it with the community, because from the community our cities will be livable and sustainable. And so we have this idea to do these events to bring architects and artists together, and educators also, and to have this network to do events. So for example, 2019 Syrian architect exhibition. So Dania and Ranim and Dania shared with this exhibition. So they are from the beginning. And then we did a few events in Ireland. And our aim in the beginning was to do online events. And suddenly we have a corona. And we find ourselves that my dreams to do online events, now it's all people trying to do online events. So, but looking for the after Corona to do this, maybe make this connection and make this video and present it in a theater or universities or places, people come and we can talk using Zoom techniques to interact together. So we have this website. So if anybody, so we have now self-support to our events. So volunteers do materials, volunteers do stories, and do it together. And step by step, we can go further. But if you have an ideas to contact or to collaborate or to support, just send us an email, and then we will send you a form or to send you details about how we can connect or how we can collaborate. So my name is Muhammad Achour. I didn't introduce myself. Muhammad Achour, Syrian architect, grew in Aleppo, former teacher assistant in Aleppo, and now teaching assistant in Dublin City University. And I am today here from Dublin City University. I get the permission to stay to be here, okay, even with Corona. And since 2015, so I founded and directing Places of ARcture from here in Ireland. So you can send to info@placesofArcture or Muhammad @placesofArcture, and we will be happy to contact and interact and to see how it's the future of art and architecture within our community. So for George, I think we can, I think he has Instagram. You can see more photos for him from his Instagram. And then also you can check Taj Shahba Facebook page. You can see Ranim's 3D modeling and works. And just please pray for Dania and Dania, and to have their way in doing more studies and postgrad study. And the main one, the big one, our teacher, Salah, said we were colleagues. He said he was 5 years old in the 5th year, and I was in the first year. So we were colleagues as a student, and then we were colleagues as a teacher. And we have all of us here having the dream or hope for Syria. So the review. If anyone wants to add something, or thank you very much. Salah, I think Salah, maybe.
I just want to thank everyone. Thank you personally for this opportunity, putting all us together today. 2 hours sharing our ideas and dreams. I hope the people have enjoyed, have seen what is happening now, because usually on the news, either you see the destruction or you see the only the sad stories, but some inspiring and good stories are hidden. And for spotting the light on them, thank you. With the Places of ARcture, the London Festival of Architecture, and all our future. Thank you again.
Thank you, Salah. Yes, I'm so glad to have our first event, online event with London Festival with ARcture. It's amazing festival. I like the idea how they open for ideas. So just send your ideas and then they collaborate with you, and here you go. And I'm not. I will try. We will try. First of all, let's be in the present. Our next event will be community engagement, 24th of June, this Wednesday. And in 26 and 27, just quick. 26 it will be different than 27, so please make sure to come in 26 and 27 for live from Aleppo. Thank you all for being with us, and hope to see you again. Thank you, Dania.
Thank you for hosting this brilliant event.
Thank you, Salah. Yeah. Okay. See you soon. Thank you for all. Bye.
See you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.